Dan and I both grew up in the Lake Charles area. He was Methodist and I was Catholic, and um, didn't miss a Sunday. His mom was the organist, and um, just had a real, um, just sort of a usual, general, kind of bland relationship with God, as much as a child can. And we didn't really talk religion much, but my mom was Methodist, but we all went to the Catholic Church. And so it just sort of felt like maybe there was more to it. We got married, and we met in college and got married, and we ended up in Texas and sort of got away from the church at that point, just sort of back down in our 20s. Just didn't really feel connected at that point in our lives. And then Dan started job hunting again, and we ended up in North Carolina.
North Carolina was sort of a culture shock coming from Louisiana, I guess you would say. But was working for a big company, sort of like the plants around here, except it was a pharmaceutical company. And so I was in production and working long hours and everything. But at the time, we just really started feeling that disconnect of God sort of tugging at us. And Sally had been looking, and we settled on a church there in the town where we were, and started bringing the kids and going. And at some point, I just had a really get down with Jesus moment, and like, I'm going to start believing in you again.
He ended up going to Emmaus.
Yeah, went to Emmaus.
Cool.
And
all this time, our family, especially my mom, had been praying and praying and praying. And that's about the same time we felt the tug. It was really neat.
Yeah. So we went along, and then, a couple of things happened. My brother-in-law passed away rather suddenly, leaving my sister with 2 kids to raise. And I came back from the funeral saying, we need to go back to Lake Charles. I mean, I'm feeling it. And at that point, it was, well, you've got this job here. You're not going to get a pharmaceutical job in Lake Charles. What are you going to do? And I was like, asking myself this, how do I do this? And I said, God, you need to get us over there. I said, whatever it takes, we need, X amount of dollars to feel comfortable going, so on and so forth. Well, my 150-year-old pharmaceutical company got bought out, and it was time to go. And everybody in the company was like, what are we going to do? The whole town is built around this. And I'm just sitting there quiet. Well, I know what I'm going to do. So that's what happened. We moved. The kicker is that we moved without any jobs to go to. Went from a great paying job to no job. And just moved the boys over there, got there, and then started figuring out how we were going to live, and praying that God would, get it done for us, I guess you should say.
And it was hard to leave our Methodist church there, but we jumped right into another Methodist church where his sister, the one that had lost her husband, was the organist. So we helped her with her kids so she could keep her job on Sunday mornings. And that Methodist church really supported us in a big way, and it was wonderful. We both got jobs in Lake Charles fairly quickly. I worked at an elementary school, which suited me tremendously. Still got to spend time with my kids on holidays and summers, and got our kids into youth group, which was super, super wonderful for them. And Dan got an amazing job.
I somehow found myself at the Children's Museum of Lake Charles. They didn't know what they had. They just knew that they were losing their other director and really needed somebody. And it was a challenge, I'll put it that way. And I had a lot of talks with God about, why am I here? What can you get me out of here, please? because that part was stressful. But that went on, and eventually we got on our feet, we got going, and a whole lot of history there. And then finally, we got to the point where it was time to retire, and I was, that was sort of another faith move too.
We thought about moving here for our son and daughter-in-law and our grandkids, but weren't sure when. And we decided, once we got our house repaired from Hurricane Laura, we decided it was time. Dan's job, there was no more museum. The hurricane totally destroyed it. So he was working from home, and his assistant was ready. She came up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We were actually in the process of starting a new museum, getting it built, which it's still being built as we speak. It's supposed to open next year.
But we made a faith leap and left it behind, both
Yeah.
retired and moved here to be with our kids and grands, and that's been 2 years now. We were looking for a church home because everywhere we've moved, the church family has been our family, and we wandered into Blackwater, and everybody was so welcoming and friendly and open to new people, and it's just been such a renewal of our faith to know that we can be accepted at our age and
Yeah, that's true.
find a place that we can call home.
You learn to go when it's time to go. There are signs. Things do happen, and a big part of it, I tell people, is sometimes God tells you wait. And that is the hardest thing to do, because especially when you're young, you want to go and get some things done. But God's timing is amazing. It's beyond it's almost hard to believe. And I've sort of known that for the past several years, but it never hit me how fundamental it is until this year. It's just,
Took us a while.
you've just really got to put the Bible in front of you and read it and study it and understand it.
Really, it's just a matter of being in tune with God and being in touch and listen to what Jesus says. And, if you've got struggles, first of all, know that, God is there in every way. He understands, but you don't have to go through it alone, especially if you find a church family and friends, and don't be afraid to reach out and cry out to Jesus and let him know that you need him, and he'll be there for you.
And I would add to that no matter how down you feel, there's always someone around, always, who needs a hand up. They might just need a smile. They might just need a hello. But you can always find someone else to help, and that will help you in ways, again, that you had never thought of.